Hey everybody, thanks for watching another edition of Honey, Can You Do This? Or your honey-do list, or if you're a honey and you just don't know how to do it, that's why I'm here. Anyway, I'm inside of a day spa and there's a door behind me that leads to a treatment room. And the area that I'm in right now is the product sales area, and it gets a little bit loud in the treatment room. So I'm going to get rid of the door and seal it in. I'm going to frame it with 2x4s, and I'm going to go ahead and throw in some solid insulation panels to help with the noise reduction. So go ahead and follow along. This won't be a speed time-lapse type video. I'll just go ahead and show the different processes from framing it, adding the insulation, putting the drywall, and texturing it up to the point of where it's going to be painted. So stay tuned, and here we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the door jamb right here with a Sawzall and the bimetal blade, and I'm going to go ahead and cut right across here just to the lath and plaster. And I'll do that on the other side, and then I'll pry this back off, the jamb right out, and the whole door will pop out. Okay, so you can see I cut through the jamb. The jamb actually goes pretty deep. So I'm going to go ahead and pry that off, and I'll show you. Back in the day, they did everything obviously pretty custom. But if you cut all the way through, then you can pry it out. And that'll just pry right off. Anyway, I'll go ahead and get the rest of this pulled out, and then I'll show you about framing this thing up with some new 2x4s. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this opening. I got the 2x4s pre-cut, and what I do is I install the bottom one first, and then the top, so that the two side legs sit on the bottom and hold at the top. It's really not needed because this is not load bearing. It's basically just a partition wall. It's filling in a door opening, but that's the way I do it. So okay, I went ahead and installed this panel, and it's pushed all the way to it's flush to the outside edge of this 2x4 on the other side. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use some liquid nails. I'm going to put it on here. And that's for the other panel that I'm going to go ahead and stick on, just so it stays. It's not going anywhere anyway. It's pretty much overkill, but it doesn't really matter. That's kind of what I do. But I'm going to pop these panels in just to stick to the other one. And again, this is the purpose of this is to keep the sound out for the clients on the other side. There is insulation in these walls, and it is lath and plaster, so it does give some pretty good sound deadening, but this opening didn't, so this is better than just throwing some insulation in. And then what I'm going to do now is these 2x4s, this lath and plaster is literally about 3/4 of an inch thick, so I ripped some 1/4 inch shims. I'm going to go ahead and stick them on here all the way around, and then I'll go ahead and put the 1/2 inch sheetrock on, and that'll actually give me the distance I need to bring the sheetrock pretty much almost flush to the outside edge of this. It'll actually be a little bit in, which is good for when I float this out. So I'll go ahead and get this done, and the next step you'll see is where I'm installing the sheetrock. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, I put these strips on. I think you can see them here. These are the 1/4 inch strips, the thickness that'll bring my sheetrock out flush. And then I've got this foam sealant, which is the gaps and cracks sealant. And I'll tell you what, be careful when you take these things off. It's happened to me more than one time, but when you pull these tips off from when they come from the store, if you're not careful, you'll bust that top right off and then you're kind of stuck. But I'm going to go ahead and use it and fill it right in here. You got to hold it upside down and put it in. I'm putting it in, it's kind of a bummer because this thing isn't quite upside down anymore. Be real careful with this when you put it in. You're going to need a towel with you because sometimes it goes all over the place. I've had this stuff in my hair. You don't want it in your hair. Okay, I've got my insulation sprayed in the corners, the foam spray. I've got the insulating panels on. Two pieces makes 3 inches thick. And I've got my first strips on, shipping my sheetrock out to the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and install the sheetrock now. And I'm going to install that with screws. This is 1/2 inch sheetrock, and you want to try to set your screws and not break the paper. And again, what I'll do is I'll get this all done, and then I'll show you how I'm going to texture the edges, or float out the edges, and then throw some texture on, pretty much match up this wall. Okay, first I'm going to show you guys the fiberglass tape. And one thing about this is people try to tear it. You know, they try to tear it like this, or they try to cut it with scissors. You don't have to do that if you have a metal knife. If you got a metal knife like this, then you'll go ahead and put it on like this. Oh, do a little overlap on the wall. Run it down like that. And then if you want to cut it here, you'll hold the knife on it and just pull it. Like that, real fast, and it can cut it. So that's one way to go ahead and cut the fiberglass tape. We'll go ahead and get more on here. Again, overlap the outside, use your knife to put it on, run it all the way across, and then just cut it with the knife. Just make sure that it's stuck on pretty good. There's a little bit of a chunk up there. We'll throw that on, and then cut it. Like that. Okay? The paper tape is different. The paper tape I'm going to have to use with mud because you got to apply a little mud on the wall first before you can put the paper on. That's why the fiberglass is kind of nice if you're a homeowner, because you don't have to mix up your mud at first. You can do all this, get it to where you need it, and then mix your mud and then go ahead and throw it on. Okay, I went ahead and mixed up some mud, and I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's 20-minute mud. And it's got a little bit of a cake batter consistency, so I'm going to go ahead and put some here, and I'll show you. The problem that people do, that they make with this, is they spend too much time with it. They try to make it look great, and that's not the point. The point is just to get it on the wall. First coat, usually you don't get crazy with it. This I'm only filling it in because it's got a height difference, which you can see, which I don't have anything here, and I kind of flatten it out. So I'm going to push some in here. Wiggle the knife back and forth and jam that stuff through the fiberglass tape into the hole. And you'll find with the knife you tend to want to push on one side with your fingers, or here, which I do, here and here, so I can have if I come across like this and it's fat, I'll push on this side and it'll thin this side out. And then I'll push on this side with my finger and it'll leave it in the center. Then you can go down. Because I normally don't use a knife this small unless I am putting tape on. I get a little bit wider knife. And a knife, if you can tell, it actually has a curve to it. So if you're filling in a gap, you want to have the curve with the hole underneath for the gap. If I'm smoothing it out, I'll have it like this, so I can go like this, nice and smooth. Again, I'll use another 20-minute mud over it. It'll even dry faster than that because this will already have been dry. And then when I go ahead and texture it, I'll probably use the same mud again. However, they do have topping and joint compound and other types of taping mud that you can use that is a little more user-friendly. I'll even throw a little sand in it a little bit and show you what happens when you put sand in. Okay, I got a little mud still left in the pan. It's the same original pan that I mixed a little while ago. And I have a little bit left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little mud on first this time, rather than use the fiberglass tape. We'll put the mud on first. Just push it down inside that crack. Try to push it kind of deep. You don't want to have a lot of mud when you're using with a paper tape, because the paper is obviously paper and it'll pull the moisture from the mud and then it won't dry real well. So you just want to have enough to cover what you're doing. I'm going to leave a little extra mud on there just to catch the paper tape. Measure off what you need. Set it on the line where you have it, and then press the corners down. And then I would leave it like that. I wouldn't get too crazy with it right now, because again, it's not like the fiberglass. You press out the bubbles, let it lay flat, like that. What I do now, once it's enough for me to put another coat on, is I take a knife and I scrape off the high parts, or I like to call them boogers. But I go ahead and scrape those off. And once you get that done, it only takes a second. Don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Again, most homeowners spend too much time, and that's why they get frustrated with drywall. Is that they spend way too much time trying to make it look pretty. And then you see professional guys come in and do a patch in and out of there and charge you $125, and they're gone within the hour. And that's probably even more frustrating. I already mixed some mud. Again, it's the same 20-minute mud. And you'll want to make sure, if you don't use a mixer and you're doing it by hand, make sure you get all the dry parts out. And again, this is not probably as easy as it looks, but I've been doing it for a long time, so. Anyway, don't have to be, again, too pretty with it. Take it down and smooth it out. You can see right in here. I think you can see that, yeah. Well, we'll get that there. Bring it on down and take it right into the corner. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, and then when I'm done, I'll go ahead and show you how I texture. Throw a coat to match this whole side over here. We'll go ahead and texture the whole thing, but I'm going to float the whole wall out so that there's some texture, or there's some mud on it, so that the texture sticks and it doesn't just stick to the paint. Okay, so I'm using a 14-inch knife. I didn't have to sand out the wall before I did this because I floated everything out pretty smooth. Sometimes you do have to sand out the wall if you have high spots and bumps and all that, but I didn't have to do that because I floated pretty smooth. But again, I put sand in here. I'm going to go ahead and take just an edge on the knife of mud, and then again you lay it down as you go, and it just pulls off the knife. The reason I'm doing this all the way in the corner is because feathering it in the small patch here. It is a small patch, however if you stop right here you'll see the patch. But if you take it from corner to corner, top to bottom, you won't see the patch. So that's why I actually do that. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this, but that's how you texture and fill up a wall, get rid of a door, and seal it off. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be putting out a new video soon. Take care.